It's April. Sorry about that. So I'm 19 now, which is like, how time works. I'm not gonna rehash or recap the past 7 months of my life. I decided to just start back today because this week I have 2 appointments. Basically, I started this whole journey off with my pediatrician, and then I obviously had to stop seeing him because I'm not a kid anymore. Then he referred me to a doctor in his office. And I saw her a few times, and I did not like her because my appointments were always very brief and uninformative and unhelpful. I waited for the holidays to be over, and then had a little fun little depressive episode, and then got back on finding a new doctor. And I have seen this new doctor once already. He ordered blood tests and an x-ray of my hips and lower back, and all of my results came back within 48 hours as completely normal. But what was I expecting? I don't know. And I have a follow-up tomorrow. I'm hoping that he will have some other direction to go, because I've done my sleep study. I have done the blood work. I've done an x-ray. I've changed one of my medications, and I still feel bad. I'm still tired. I still deal with vertigo and lightheadedness and brain fog and dizziness and all of this neurological stuff. So I'm hoping tomorrow I'll go back and be like, okay, so everything was normal. And he'll be like, here's what to do next. My expectation is not that will happen. My expectation is what happened the past few times I've seen a doctor, which is, well, it's not your blood, and it's not anything else I can see right now, so it must just be all in your head. Keep seeing a psychiatrist. And even if that is what it is, I don't know what direction to go in the psychiatry route. Like, I don't know how to bring that up and be like, hey, so I am dealing with this stuff. What could it be? Because I'm already seeing them for specific things, and I don't even know if my symptoms are valid to bring up in that context. So I'm trying really hard right now to completely plan out what I'm going to say in the event that it doesn't go the way I want it to, which is likely, because that is what has happened. Being someone who's fat and AFAB and mentally ill, it kind of puts me at a disadvantage naturally, and I've directly experienced it. My mom has directly experienced it, where a lot of things get brushed off as related to my weight or depression or my anatomy, without much investigation. And I'm afraid of that happening again. So I'm trying really hard to think about how I'm going to respond. After tomorrow, however that goes, I have a psych appointment on Friday. And so if I need to talk to her about, getting diagnosed with other things, going to an inpatient facility, or changing my medications again, that I can talk about all that on Friday with her. I can't have expectations going into it because I'm always disappointed by what happens. So I just have to do what I can to advocate for myself, which is not easy, but it's what I have to do, because I'm not taken as seriously as other people might be taken, and because a lot of what I'm dealing with is very, in a way, intangible and hard to measure, and so they kind of just have to take my word for it, and I have a feeling that I am not often believed, at least right off the bat. Telling someone what's going on, they don't necessarily take me seriously. So that's that for now. This is just the first day of the week. and this video will end up being the entire week put together. I hope it doesn't end up being too long or too much. I am sorry that I have been gone for so long, because I know that there are a lot of you that I don't communicate with regularly. And I deleted Instagram off my phone a couple months ago, and so I've literally not been in contact with anyone outside of, like, my immediate circle. So, I have friends that don't know where I am or what's going on. Maybe I flatter myself thinking that they are worried, but at the same time, I would be worried in their situation. And also, it's just kind of helpful for me to kind of compile these things and think about it all at once in one place. So I will check back in tomorrow and let you know how things went with my doctor's appointment. Fit check. Getting ready to go to the doctor. I'm so excited. Okay, so I just got done in the doctor's office. I talked to him for like 5 minutes probably. I was like, everything came back normal when I did my x-ray, my blood test. He's like, yes. And I said, so I scheduled a follow-up to see like what the next step is. And he said, he made a face and he was like, kind of like, I don't know, which is one of the most frustrating things ever to me, because it's like, you're the doctor, what do you mean you don't know? And I was like, okay, so fatigue was the primary concern, but I also deal with other things like vertigo and lightheadedness, dizziness that like inhibit my ability to function. I was like, well, I've always just been told to talk to my psychiatrist, because that's always the answer. Talk to your psychiatrist. So he did say talk to your psychiatrist, which, like, am I surprised? No, not really. It might be the answer even. But he referred me to an ENT, an ear, nose, and throat doctor, because they can assess, like, the inside of my ears, which can affect, like, my balance and stuff. See if it's actually vertigo, because vertigo is, like, a medical term. And I was like, using the term to explain what I was feeling, but I don't know if that's actually what it is, right? And he asked me to, like, describe the vertigo, like, what I'm feeling, and I realized that, like, I have a hard time exactly describing it, because it's one of those things where if you've experienced it, you know what it feels like, right? And so I'm like, I'll lose my balance while I'm just standing still sometimes, or I'll be walking, and then, like, one step, the ground will feel closer or further away than it's supposed to. Like when you're walking down the stairs and you think there's one more step, but there's not, and you hit the ground really hard. Like that. This specialist should contact me to get me an appointment eventually. It is a specialist, so I have no idea how long it'll be before I can see them. And I am completely expecting nothing to come of this. And this was like the only thing that he, thought to say. Okay, so once this comes back as nothing, it'll be talk to your psychiatrist. He said for the fatigue specifically, maybe I could talk to her about completely changing my medications from, like, normal, like, antidepressants or downers is what they call them. But that is just to address the fatigue, which is a huge complaint. I have a really big complaint about fatigue because it makes it hard for me to do things. Like, I went to Topgolf with my siblings and my aunt, and I got so frustrated trying to play Topgolf because my arms were, like, not cooperating. When you do something that uses your arms and then the next day your arms feel, like, weird and, like, kind of, like, heavy, I felt like that, but all I had done was play Topgolf for, like, half an hour. Or when we go bowling, I'll bowl one game, and then the second game, I hit nothing because all I'm doing basically is dropping the ball. And it's not that I'm mad that I'm not good at it. I'm mad that I have no control over it, and that I know exactly why things are going wrong, and it makes me feel like incompetent, and it's very frustrating for me. What's not being addressed until now, apparently, is everything else, which I have noticed more prominently ever since changing my medications. But I have a psych appointment on Friday, and I'm gonna talk to her and be like, okay, so I've seen like medical doctors for like my physical body. I've seen them, and they're all telling me that it has to do with like my behavioral health, mental health. I'm just so frustrated and so tired. And I know there's not like a magic pill that they can give me to make me feel better, especially when nobody knows what's wrong. But I'm tired, and I want to be able to live my life, and I want to make money, and I want to be an adult. I'm turning 20 this year. I want to get on the dating scene. I want to get to making friends as a grown up, because the only friend I have is from when I was still in school. I want to be a person, and I haven't been a person for a very long time. So I'm just tired, and this is exactly how it's been for the past year and a half. So it's next week. Had my appointment on Friday, then I hung out with my friend, then I got sick this weekend again. So at my psych appointment, which was at 9 in the morning, mind you, not my favorite. I'm surprised I was even conscious for it, to be honest. She was like, we upped your meds and you're doing fine. I'm like, I'm doing great. And she's like, so what about your sleep and eating? And I was like, cool, I know what to talk about. I know what to bring up. So I brought up the fact that I've been dealing with like chronic exhaustion, fatigue, lightheadedness, dizziness, vertigo, etc. For over a year now, and that all of the doctors that I've seen, the 3 people that I've seen, and the hospital visit a year ago, they were all like, talk to a psychiatrist, talk to your psychiatrist, keep taking medications, change your medications, blah blah blah. So I was like, I don't know what it could possibly be. She was like, all that she could attribute it to was either, my history with like anxiety and depression, or something else that's just not behavioral health wise, supposedly. And that none of my medications that I'm taking, none of them anymore, are like downers, or like repressants or whatever. So that shouldn't even be like, I shouldn't be even experiencing those kinds of symptoms. So it makes sense why getting off of my one medication, I started to feel better, because that was a like repressant, and then I wasn't on it anymore. So now I'm just on like mood regulators or whatever. I've been doing great with those. It's just that everything else is still a problem. All of my other physical symptoms are still there. She said, unless it's just like an extreme bout of like, insane depression, which is not what it seems like to me or to her, based on what I've told her and what she has asked me, that it is not anything that she can like directly diagnose. I wanted to bring up eating, and then I didn't, and then I kind of thought and realized like, no one has said that could be a problem, so I don't think it's a problem. But at the same time, I'm like, I realize that I'm predisposed to judgment because of the way I look and who I am. Something like an eating disorder might not be something that someone suggests immediately. Granted, I've never met my psychiatrist in person before, so she's never actually seen me. She just sees me like right here. She does have like my height and weight information though, and so like having that, it can impact the judgment of like whether or not that is a thing that I have. Because like, if I'm fat, how could I have an eating disorder? Which is honestly what I'm thinking. Like, I don't know that it's severe enough that it could be affecting me this extremely, But then some days I'm like, I feel like if there's nothing else, like that has to be what it is. I feel like I've just been left once again to like kind of figure it out myself, and that's really frustrating. It's been 3.5 business days since my referral got sent to the ENT, and I haven't gotten a call yet, so I'll probably have to call them at the end of the week and be like, hey. But other than that, I'm just kind of waiting again. On the psych side, I didn't ask about it this time because I had other questions. I want to look into getting assessed for other things like ADHD and autism. I do have ADHD, according to like a therapist, but I didn't get like professionally or like formally diagnosed, so I don't technically like have it, and I can't be treated for it. And I haven't been assessed for autism. If I can get either of those to, be like recognized, I have a chance of being able to apply for disability despite not ever having had a job. The reason I can't do that right now is because I don't have a diagnosis, and so it's like on paper it's like, oh, you just don't want to, or you aren't, getting a job or doing what you're supposed to be doing. And if I can't get a physical diagnosis, then the only other route I have is to be like, my mental condition is like hindering me from functioning. Which, even if that's not the direct case, like, that is a way to get the resources I need. Because right now I just live with my parents and they pay for everything. And, right now is like kind of rough financially anyway. And I'm starting to feel even more of that guilt and that pressure of being like, well, why do you still live at home? Why don't you, pay to live there? Why don't you have any sort of job to support? Like, and I know logically why all of that is true and why I don't have access to those resources right now. But then it makes it worse when like my mom just got a part-time job and I can just feel like the judgment, like, you could if you tried, or if you wanted to, you could, or if you looked into it, like, I'm sure there's something. And I'm like, I don't feel safe or comfortable doing that, and so I haven't. I do want to look into getting a referral to a neurologist and or a cardiologist, because when I first dealt with this like dizziness stuff, it was cardiology related. I saw a pediatric cardiologist my freshman year of high school. According to like my aunt and my mom, I can just call the doctor's office, and be like, hey, can I get a referral? Like, I don't have to go to an appointment and have him like refer me. I can just ask to have insurance cover it. Because if I don't get a referral, I would have to pay out of pocket, and that's not possible. I guess until then, I just kind of have to wait. It's fun. It's awesome. But despite this, I'm feeling okay. Not physically, but like emotionally. Like, things are a little stressful right now, just like all around. But like, I'm feeling okay. I've been hanging out with my friend a lot, and I'm doing good, better than I thought I would be, I hope you guys are doing okay, and that if you're not, that it can get better. Just know that there's always someone out there who loves you, and that there's always a reason to, stick around. I'm still here. We're still here. We got it. We're great. Enjoy the rest of your day and your week and the month of April, which is insane. Yeah. Peace.